After 5 long years, Black Clover is finally making its highly anticipated comeback. And today, we're going to be covering the entire story of Black Clover. But the story is massive, spanning over 170 episodes so far. So today, we're covering the first 2 parts of this series, the Magic Knight's Entrance Arc and the Dungeon Exploration Arc. The rest of the parts will be released on our channel one by one. So whether you're watching the series for the very first time, or just need a refresher before Season 2 starts airing, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Our story begins in a village called Hajj, where a priest finds 2 abandoned babies left on the church steps. The names are stitched onto their clothes. One is Yuno, a calm baby with a strange pendant. The other is Asta, an energetic kid who kicks the priest hard enough to give him a nosebleed. 15 years later, Asta is still just as loud, currently screaming while trying to propose to Sister Lily. She rejects him every time because she is a nun, but Asta refuses to give up until she finally smacks him into the ground with water magic. When he keeps going, Yuno steps in and tells him Asta has zero appeal to women. Asta tries to show off his power, but there is just one huge problem. In a world where magic is everything and part of everyday life, Asta is the only person with no magic. The other orphans tease him for it, so he tries to make up for it with his physical strength. But even then, Yuno still outshines him. Yeah, he's crazy good at magic. Seeing Asta getting discouraged, Sister Lily comforts him and says his power will for sure awaken when he receives his grimoire at the upcoming ceremony. Hearing that, Asta declares that he will get his grimoire, join the Magic Knights, and become the Wizard King. He challenges Yuno for the title, but he barely reacts. Frustrated, Asta runs into the woods yelling that he will prove everybody wrong. Watching him leave, Sister Lily asks Yuno why he treats him so harshly, recalling that when they were younger, Yuno used to cry all the time, until one day they came home with Asta beaten and bloody after protecting him. And from that day on, Yuno stopped being a crybaby, and Asta started training every day to become the Wizard King. The big day of the ceremony finally arrives. A few arrogant nobles start mocking the commoners, claiming only nobles have enough mana to pass the Magic Knight's exam. As the ceremony begins, glowing grimoires fly off the shelves to choose their owners, but nothing comes to Asta. On the other hand, Yuno receives a legendary 4-leaf clover grimoire, the same rare kind once wielded by the very first Wizard King. After that, Yuno declares he will become the next Wizard King. You might have guessed it, but Asta refuses to give up and challenges Yuno for the same title, but Yuno just ignores him again. Right after the ceremony ends, the 2 nobles try to ambush Yuno, but they are no match for him. Suddenly, Revchi appears, a former Magic Knight turned bandit. Using his chain magic, he restrains everyone and steals Yuno's 4-leaf clover grimoire. When he tries to take Yuno's pendant too, Asta jumps in to save him, but unfortunately for him, there's not much he can do without magic. Revchi reveals his chains can measure mana and tells Asta he doesn't have a single drop of magic in him. Hearing that completely crushes his spirit. He almost gives up on becoming the Wizard King, but at that moment, Yuno shouts that Asta is his one and only rival. That acknowledgement from Yuno sparks something in him. We see a 5-leaf clover grimoire fly towards Asta, and a massive black sword comes out from it. In this world, the first 3 clover leaves represent integrity, hope, and love, while the 4th stands for good luck, and the 5th leaf is where the devil resides. We see a flashback from 10 years ago, where Yuno is a crybaby who would always trip. But Asta was always there, promising to protect him no matter what. We cut to Sister Lily telling them the legend of the first Wizard King, who defeated the Demon King and saved the world. Hearing this, Asta yells that he will become the next Wizard King, hoping to make everyone in the church happy, and of course, marry Sister Lily, which she quickly shuts down, making Yuno laugh. Back then, Asta often made things worse when he tried to help, like the first time he tried to calm a crying baby and only made her cry louder. Later, Yuno goes into town to deliver a letter, but gets mugged by a drunk who steals his pendant. Asta rushes in to fight him, but gets folded. He's covered in bruises from head to toe, but he keeps getting back up and telling him to return the pendant until the drunk finally gets tired and walks away without taking it. Seeing this, Yuno apologizes for putting him in danger, but Asta smiles, saying he was just keeping his promise. Back in the present, Revchi is twitching out because he thought Asta didn't have any magic. We see a devil shadow right behind Asta, and with one heavy swing, he cancels Revchi's chain magic, shouting that he will become the Wizard King, even though he doesn't have a single drop of mana, saying his real magic is never giving up. With that, he knocks Revchi out with one clean strike, Asta explains that since he was born without magic, he trained his entire life for something like this. With Revchi out of the way, Yuno is released from the chains. He looks at Asta and asks if he remembers their childhood promise. Asta thought Yuno had forgotten, but Yuno says he was the one who gave him hope that even poor orphans and commoners like them can rise up. With that, their rivalry reignites as they push themselves to see who will become the Wizard King. In the next episode, we find out that humanity was pushed to the brink of destruction by a terrifying demon. All hope seemed lost until a powerful mage stepped forward and saved the world by defeating the Demon King. After his victory, he was hailed as the Wizard King and became a legend. In the present, the role of the Wizard King has been passed down for generations. Under his command are the Magic Knights, the kingdom's elite fighting force divided into 9 squads. Together, the Wizard King and these squads protect the Clover Kingdom. Meanwhile, Asta and Yuno train non-stop for the Magic Knight's entrance exam, which is in 6 months. Sister Lily and Father Orsi worry, especially about Asta, so they speak with the Tower Master. He reassures them and says the 2 nobles who attacked Yuno dropped out after their encounter with Revchi, so Asta and Yuno are the village's last hope. Even so, he clearly doesn't want the boys to leave. Sister Lily and the Elder say that they will be fine, though the Elder remains suspicious of Asta's 5-leaf grimoire. Meanwhile, Asta and Yuno push their rivalry even harder as they train non-stop. During one of Asta's intense workouts, the young orphan Nash tells him that all the effort is pointless, believing poor commoners like them have no chance of doing something great. Asta cuts him off and says that he'll never give up, and promises to prove that anyone, even commoners like them, can do something amazing.
And be the Wizard King! What?
Later that night, Sister Lily and Father Orsi prepare a warm farewell dinner for the boys. The next morning before they leave, Nash tells Asta that if he actually passes the exam, he will start believing in his own dream of becoming a Magic Knight too. As Asta and Yuno walk away from the only home they've ever known, Sister Lily thinks about the day they were found as abandoned babies.
Pretty please, will you marry me? I didn't mean to. Sorry. Sister Lily. Oh boy.
The 2 begin their journey towards the royal capital, racing each other along the road as part of their training, while a strange bird starts following them until they finally arrive at the royal capital. Once they're in the busy city of Kika, they register for the Magic Knight's entrance exam. While the candidates are waiting, strange birds start flying around, acting like mana detectors. They completely avoid Yuno and swarm Asta, basically broadcasting the fact that he has the least amount of mana. While trying to shake them off, Asta bumps into a huge guy and mistakes him for another candidate. The man turns out to be Yami Sukahiro, the captain of the Black Bulls. Before things got worse, Yami was taken away by the other members of the Black Bulls, Finral and Gordon. The squad has a reputation for causing more destruction than they prevent. A guy named Seke comes to Asta and starts pointing out the Magic Knight captains entering the arena. Nozel of the Silver Eagles, Fuego Leon of the Crimson Lions, Charlotte of the Blue Roses, and finally, William Vengeance of the Golden Dawn. The kingdom's most elite squad and several other captains. A squad captain is said to have the power equivalent to 100 Magic Knights. William begins the exam by summoning a giant magical tree and giving the candidates flying brooms. Asta is miserably failing every single test, while Yuno shines like a prodigy. For the final test, the candidates must duel each other. Seeing his chance, Asta looks for an opponent, and Seke quickly volunteers. When the match starts, Seke reveals he only chose Asta because he's the weakest one among them, and he thinks it's going to be an easy win for him. But that plan backfires instantly as Asta knocks him out with one swing of the sword and shouts that he will become the next Wizard King. Right after that knockout, the whole stadium thinks Asta has lost his mind. Finral is shocked watching from the sidelines, thinking about the fact that Asta hasn't used any magic so far. But Captain Yami quickly realizes Asta can't use magic, and that rare trait catches his interest. Meanwhile, Yuno faces an arrogant noble named Salim. As expected, he wipes the floor with him, effortlessly taking Salim down with his wind magic. With the duels over, the squad selection ceremony begins. As the candidates step forward one by one, some get chosen while others are rejected. Yeah, Yuno gets offers from all of the squad captains. He ends up choosing the Golden Dawn, the kingdom's top squad. But when it's Asta's turn, the arena goes silent. Not a single captain wants him, because they didn't see him use any magic at all. That's when Yami steps in. He confronts Asta and tells him that nobody trusts an unknown power, and without magic, he really stands no chance. Yami unleashes a terrifying aura and asks if Asta really thinks he can surpass all of the captains and become the Wizard King. Asta fires back, saying he will never give up, no matter how many times he fails. Impressed by his determination, Yami grins and invites him to join the Black Bulls. I can't believe he actually made it into the Magic Knights without having any magic at all. Can't wait until Nash finds out. Asta accepts, and Yami warns him that the squad will put him through hell. But if he survives, he might actually become the Wizard King. Later, Seke follows Asta into the bathroom, angry because Asta humiliated him during their 1v1. He summons a poisonous lizard from his grimoire, and just when he's about to jump Asta, Yuno steps in, reminding Seke he is nowhere near Asta's level. With that, they go their separate ways. Outside, Asta finds Captain Yami waiting. In the next frame, Yami grabs him by his head, and Finral opens a portal with his spatial magic, sending them straight to the Black Bulls' headquarters. Asta opens the door and... yeah. That's one hell of a greeting. As the smoke clears, Yami welcomes him to the worst squad in the kingdom. Yuno arrives at the Golden Dawn base, but receives a cold welcome from a noble named Klaus, who isn't happy about a commoner joining the squad. Back at the Black Bulls base, Asta gets a really unique welcome. He tries to introduce himself, but the entire squad is too busy fighting each other to even notice the new guy. Captain Yami solves the problem by blasting a huge hole through the wall, which finally gets everyone's attention. After that, Finral introduces the crew. First is Vanessa Anoteka, the squad's heavy drinker.
My heart is set on Sister Lily, and I will stay true to her no matter what!
Then there is Luck Volchia, a cheerful battle maniac who loves to fight. Next is Gosh Adley, who has a sister complex. We also meet Charmy Papitson, a tiny girl with a massive appetite, along with Gray, a quiet giant. And finally, there is Magna Swing, the hot-headed punk of the squad. Magna decides to test the new rookie. Asta has to survive a barrage of fire attacks, but then Magna locks in and fires a massive fireball. Asta instinctively flips his black sword and uses the flat side to smack it right back at Magna. Seeing this, Yami realizes the sword can not only cut magic, but also reflect it, something he's never seen before. Magna walks out of the explosion unharmed and starts laughing, calling him a fellow comrade now. The squad congratulates Asta, and Magna gives him the Black Bull's robe. As all of this is happening, a girl named Noelle Silva watches from the balcony with an arrogant expression. We cut to Magna showing Asta his new room, and he freaks out because he's never had his own space before. Magna tells him to send a letter back to the church so they know he made it into a squad. Meanwhile, at the Golden Dawn, Klaus reluctantly helps Yuno settle in, still giving him the cold shoulder. Back at the church in Hajj village, Father Orsi is happy that Yuno passed, and everyone is shocked that Asta was able to pass too. The next day, Asta wakes up and realizes the bird that followed him from his home village is still hanging around. Magna gives him a tour of the Black Bull's base and introduces the girl we saw on the balcony, Noelle Silva. She is royalty and acts all high and mighty, calling Asta a lowly insect. Asta fires back, saying that in the Black Bulls, everyone is equal. Trying to prove him wrong, Noelle uses her water magic, but her aim is terrible, and she ends up hitting Magna instead. Magna tells her to stop being so arrogant just because she's royalty, and she should be more grateful Captain Yami let her join the Black Bulls, to which she throws her robe and storms off. Later, Asta gets lost and stumbles upon Noelle secretly training. She has a ton of mana but no control over it. Because of that, her siblings call her a failure and even say that she should have died instead of their mother. Despite all of that, Noelle never stopped trying. When she notices Asta watching, she panics, thinking he will mock her like everyone else, which causes her to lose control and trap herself inside a giant water vortex that starts drowning her. Yami steps in and chucks Asta straight into the vortex so that he can cut through the spell with his anti-magic sword, and Finral teleports them safely to the ground. Noelle was expecting to get mocked, But instead, Asta hypes her up, saying that she has so much mana and just needs to practice. It's the first time someone hasn't made fun of her for struggling with magic. She gets really flustered and doesn't know how to react, and calls Asta by his name for the very first time. The squad tells her the Black Bulls are all misfits anyways, so no one cares about their weaknesses, which brings Noelle to tears, and she finally warms up to them. Asta's life as a magic knight begins with cleaning, doing laundry, and feeding the beasts. He basically becomes the squad's chore boy. When he tries to wake Captain Yami, he just gets yelled at to get lost, leaving him wondering what's happened to the epic missions he imagined. At breakfast, Asta wonders why Noelle never does chores, and that's cause as royalty, she hasn't done any chores in her life. Asta asks what magic knights actually do. While their main job is protecting people, everyone in this squad has their own weird reason for joining. Luck wants to fight without getting into trouble, Gosh wants money to buy more clothes for his sister, Finral wants to flirt with more girls, and Charmy just wants money for more food. Suddenly, Captain Yami bursts in to grab Magna for a real mission. Asta begs to go, but Magna cuts him off, saying it's a very important mission and kids are not allowed. Turns out that adult missions was just a trip to the casino. Captain Yami and Magna gamble everything away, even their clothes. When they come back to the base naked, Captain Yami gives Asta and Noelle their very first real Magic Knight mission, hunting wild boars near Salsey Village, all because Yami and Magna lost a poker game to the village chief. The man took everything they had, only leaving them with their underwear. When Asta complains about cleaning up their mess, Captain Yami just gives them a death stare. And yeah, that seems to have done the trick. Noelle is hesitant to do it because she can't control her magic, but Magna promises to deal with any accidents she might cause, so Noelle generously agrees to go with them. But there's a small problem. Since Asta has no magic and Noelle can't control hers, neither of them can fly a broom, so Magna gives them a ride on his crazy cyclone. Basically a souped-up flying motorcycle. The ride is rough, and when Asta tries to grab Noelle so he doesn't fall off, she gets flustered and kicks him right off the bike. But Magna swoops down and saves him from falling to his death. That was way too close. Meanwhile, in Salsey Village, a group of villains appear searching for a magic stone. We cut to Asta getting chased by giant boars. Noelle tries to help, but as usual, she misses. Asta still keeps going and takes all the boars down with his sword. On the ride back, Magna tells them about the Salsey Village chief named Sehi. It turns out Magna used to be a local punk who constantly picked fights with the old man and lost every time. Sehi was the one who inspired him to take the Magic Knight's entrance exam. But when they arrive at Salsey Village, they find the entire place covered in mist. Asta uses his anti-magic sword to slice the mist in half. Inside, they find the villagers trapped with deadly ice crystals floating above their heads. Magna gets rid of them with his fireballs, but then finds his old mentor, aka the village chief Sehi, lying dead on the ground. Magna tries to wake him, realizing Sehi died protecting the villagers. He gets extremely angry, but before he can even do anything, the enemy leader fires a massive ice crystal. Damn, can't believe Asta was able to actually cut that. When Asta asks why they did this, they go on a rant about how the kingdom is divided into the noble, common, and forsaken realms. Since Salsey Village is in the forsaken realm where people have very little magic, he sees them as nothing more than livestock. The enemies unleash a barrage of ice crystals, and Asta struggles to deflect them all while protecting everybody. Noelle tries to help, but yeah, there isn't much she can do. Magna is trying his best, but he's really low on mana. Noelle is about to give up on herself, but suddenly she hears a little girl crying out for help. That desperate cry sparks something in her, and Noelle locks in, creating a massive water dome that shields everyone, declaring that she will protect them all because she is royalty and a member of the Black Bulls. Noelle's barrier is blocking all of the ice crystals. Seeing an opening, Asta tries to ambush the leader. He gets a hit on him, but yeah, it looks like he's no match for him. Heath goes in to get rid of the water dome. Magna wants to fight, but as I mentioned earlier, he's almost out of mana. We see Asta is still trying. At this point, he probably knows he's not strong enough to take him down. Suddenly, Magna comes up with a crazy plan. He steps outside the barrier and shouts for Asta to repeat their Black Bull's initiation. Then he fires a spell with everything he has before collapsing. Noelle shields Magna while Asta deflects the fireball at Heath and his minions. Heath tries to freeze the fire, but Asta rushes in and lands the final blow. They tie them all up, though one escapes. With the villagers safe, Asta passes out from exhaustion. Noelle calls him an idiot, a loud and lonely commoner, but admits he's sort of amazing. Honestly, she low-key has a crush on him. The strange bird that's been following Asta quietly flies away and ends up finding the magic stone. Afterwards, Heath refuses to talk and pulls something crazy. He and his men turn themselves into ice statues and shatter into pieces to protect their secret. With the fight over, the trio visits Seihi's grave with his grandkids, Nick and Anna. The kids then share a story about Seihi. When he was younger, he always regretted not working hard enough to become a magic knight. But after Magna became a magic knight, the old man felt as if his dream had finally become true, and now he could finally rest in peace. After all that, the strange bird flies back over to Asta with the magic stone in its mouth. Nick points out that it was a charm that Seihi always carried, so Asta tries to take it back, calling out the bird for holding on to some random rock. But Nick says it's fine. Letting Asta's bird keep it is the least he can do after they saved his village.
He is so adorable! You could sit on me if you'd like.
Not again!
Meanwhile, the mage who escaped reports back to a figure wearing a golden dawn robe, who is secretly collecting these rare stones for some sort of resurrection ritual. Yeah, looks like there's a traitor among the Golden Dawns. The next day, we see Yami praising Asta, Noelle, and Magna for saving the town. Vanessa and Finral return from their magic investigation department, but they weren't able to get any useful leads on who the attackers were. The Wizard King rewards them with a star, and Vanessa explains the star system. It measures each squad's prestige. Golden Dawn is leading with 70 stars, while the Black Bulls are sitting at -30. How is that even possible? We cut to Captain Yami giving Asta his first paycheck, and he's really excited about it. Already planning to buy a ton of potatoes for Sister Lily. Meanwhile, Noelle barely reacts. She is royalty after all. To celebrate, Vanessa takes Asta and Noelle to Kika. During the broom ride, Asta tries to hold on to Noelle, and yeah.
Not again!
Asta is really excited, since it's his first time in the city. After they've finished their shopping, Vanessa takes the rookies to the black market, hoping to find something that can help Noelle control her magic. She tries on a magical necklace,
yourself to blame for walking there in the first place.
and yeah, no luck. As Seke is trying his best to flirt with the girls, a thief snatches an old woman's purse and makes a run for it. Asta immediately takes off after him. The chase spreads across Kika as the thief escapes on a magic cloud. Asta chases him and nullifies his spell, taking him down in 2 seconds. Seke joins in, slams into the thief with his flying scooter, but gets pricked by a poison blade. He overreacts like crazy until Vanessa gives him an antidote. Asta returns the purse to the old woman. After that, she drops her disguise and reveals that she is actually the Wizard King, Julius Novachrono. He was wandering the streets in disguise to observe new types of magic. Looking up, Julius notices Yuno and Mimosa out on an escort mission led by Klaus. They're protecting the noble Salem, the same guy Yuno embarrassed during the entrance exam. They get jumped by some bandits, but Yuno just one-taps them. After that, Salem asks to visit Hajj, Yuno's home village. Everyone at the church is really happy to see Yuno and welcomes them warmly, but Klaus grows suspicious of Salem's real intentions. As they all eat, Father Orsi and Sister Lily talk about how both Yuno and Asta sent their first wages back home. Compared to Yuno, Asta sends almost all of his. Thanks to that, they were able to buy enough potatoes so none of the kids goes to bed hungry anymore. Not wanting to lose to him, Yuno vows to do the same and send his entire paycheck next time. Klaus says they should just leave, but Salem stalls by asking for water, and when Sister Lily goes to the well, she gets kidnapped. Klaus orders the team to stay and guard Salem, but Yuno ignores him and rushes into the forest. He takes down the bandits and finds Sister Lily. She's being held hostage. They're after his 4-leaf clover grimoire. Before Yuno can respond, a magic spear flies in and knocks the thugs out cold. Klaus arrives to support him while Mimosa uses her flower magic to expose them. Salem planned the kidnapping out of jealousy towards Yuno. During this mission, Klaus finally accepts Yuno as his real teammate. After tying up the kidnappers, they realize one bandit is missing, but it was actually the Wizard King in disguise watching over them, until his secretary drags him back to work. This guy is literally everywhere. With yet another victory under their belts, the Golden Dawn earns another star. When Asta hears Yuno's squad is now 101 stars ahead, he gets even more fired up to surpass Yuno. Right then, a new urgent mission appears, and the Wizard King knows exactly who he wants to send for this one. And with that, the first part of Black Clover reaches its conclusion. So let's move on to part 2. 2, which covers the Dungeon Exploration Arc. In episode 14, we see everyone trying to name the strange bird that keeps following Asta. The squad throws out terrible name ideas one after another.
Call him Magnum Fire! This guy's Birdie Boy!
But luck saves the day by naming the bird Nero.
Mind if I fatten the bird up? I've got a craving for drumsticks and it looks tasty. Not a chance. You think it'll lay eggs? Huh?
Captain Yami arrives with their next mission, exploring a newly discovered dungeon. These places are ancient tombs where people long ago concealed magic artifacts and rare items behind deadly traps. This one appears right on the Clover Kingdom border near their rival, the Diamond Kingdom. The Wizard King chooses Asta for their mission, and he is super hyped about it. Noelle and Luck join the team before Finral opens a portal and drops them in a nearby jungle. If you're wondering why he didn't just teleport them straight inside the dungeon, it's because he can only open portals to places he's already been. So, after finding their way inside, the intense mana overwhelms everyone except Asta, who ends up triggering a trap but slices it apart with his anti-magic sword. This gets Luck fired up, so he starts setting off traps on purpose just to watch Asta break them. At this rate, Luck might be the one who kills them first. We cut back to Captain Yami, who expects the rookies to push past their limits. He says that a lot since it's basically his catchphrase, so expect to hear it a lot. He figures they'll be fine with Luck's help, since Luck is incredibly skilled at sensing mana, even surpassing most royalty, and every squad would want him if it were not for his unhinged personality.
I don't understand how the Wizard King even knows about Asta.
And you probably never will. Fact is, Wizard King sees things we don't. Also, he's weird.
Back in the dungeon, after his crazy shenanigans, Luck realizes why the Wizard King chose Asta for this mission after seeing his anti-magic sword in action. Then he senses a strong opponent nearby, and without hesitation, he rushes off to fight, leaving Asta and Noelle to fend for themselves. While cursing the lunatic for ditching them, they keep exploring the dungeon. Asta tells Noelle about Yuno and their shared dream of becoming the Wizard King. Noelle realizes she is alone with Asta, gets flustered, and trips into a vine trap just as a giant plant monster jumps out to eat her. Asta rushes in to save her, but they both get captured. Luckily, Yuno arrives just in time and blasts the monster away, repaying his debt to Asta. Their reunion quickly turns into a squabble. Klaus scolds Yuno for helping a rival squad.
We have no time to involve ourselves with such a rabble as these. Jeez, who the hell is Four Eyes the Rude here? My superior. Excuse me? And you think that I'm rude? Don't say that again! Brat! I am a noble and you will treat me with respect! So much for not involving ourselves.
While Mimosa, who is actually Noelle's cousin, takes jabs at her poor magic control. Noelle fires back, calling her an airhead with no filter. Mimosa tries to one-up her by saying they recently earned a star, but when Asta says the Black Bulls also got one, Klaus flat out calls him a liar. It continues until Mimosa uses her magic to create a map of the entire dungeon. With Yuno leading the Golden Dawn and Nero guiding Asta and Noelle, it becomes a race to see which squad reaches the treasure room first. Back in the capital, the Wizard King is informed that a Diamond Kingdom squad led by Lotus has entered the dungeon, but he trusts his knights to handle them. Meanwhile, Luck wipes out the enemy knights with ease. Lotus tries to escape, Luck runs after him. This guy Lotus is no joke, since he once survived a clash with Captain Yami. Suddenly, Luck starts to weaken as Lotus has already filled the room with his smoke magic. Elsewhere, the Golden Dawn reaches a massive gate. Mimosa takes a direct hit from a mage of the Diamond Kingdom. On the other side, Luck is at the verge of passing out, but he manages to pull himself together and unleashes his full power, saying it's been a long time since things have gotten this interesting. In the next episode, we see a flashback of Luck's childhood. His mother was very harsh on him, slapping him while asking why he was always smiling, why he couldn't just be normal, and why he was born such a freak. After he defeated a noble, everyone started avoiding him, scared of his power and creepy smile. Once his mom learned he had beaten royalty, she completely changed her tone, hugged him, then drilled into his head that no one would ever help him. So the only way to survive is to keep winning no matter what. Back in the present, Luck recklessly charges at Lotus, set on winning no matter the cost, but gets trapped in a cage of solid smoke. Meanwhile, Klaus and Yuno face an enemy mage, while Noelle senses a ton of mana and concludes there's a fight somewhere, and that Luck is probably fighting mages from the Diamond Kingdom. Noelle tells Asta to leave it to Luck because he likes fighting, and protecting the treasure room is their top priority. At the same time, Klaus tells Yuno to go go on ahead while he holds off the enemy. However, keeping his promise with Asta to treat their squads like family, Yuno refuses to leave and stays to fight. Asta does the same, jumping in with Noelle to save Luck instead of rushing to the treasure room. We see another flashback to Luck's childhood when his mother died. People say she passed away from the stress, and everyone is creeped out that Luck is still smiling even at her grave. Back in the present, Luck refuses to take Asta's help, believing he has to defeat all of his enemies alone to earn his mother's acceptance. So he charges at Lotus by himself. But just as he is about to get hit, Asta steps in. He blocks the attack and yells that he won't leave him alone no matter what, because they're friends and the whole squad is with him. In that moment, Luck realizes he has friends he can rely on, and that he doesn't have to fear being alone again. He admits that fighting together might actually be fun. So the three of them move into corner Lotus, but they end up getting trapped in a smoke dome. Asta tries to cut through it with his anti-magic sword, but yeah, it isn't working. Noelle and Luck try to break through the smoke too, but there isn't much that they can do. Lotus keeps filling the area, and at this rate, they're just gonna suffocate. Hiding inside the smoke, Lotus launches attacks by sensing their mana, but suddenly Asta lands a direct hit and slams him into a wall. He only pulls it off because the trio finally works together as a team. Luck spams lightning to corner Lotus, setting up Noelle to use her water magic and launch Asta straight at him for the finishing blow. On the other hand, Yuno and his squad is really struggling against the Diamond Mage. Yeah, this guy is crazy strong. Lotus tries to escape, but Luck chases after him, only for him to vanish into the smoke. We cut back to Yuno, who is losing his fight against the Diamond Kingdom's secret weapon, Mars. Klaus notices magic stones embedded into his body, acting as artificial power-ups. It turns out the Diamond Kingdom experimented on young children to create these mages, then forced them to fight each other to the death. Mars is the only survivor of that battle royale. Yuno keeps attacking, but barely scratches him. We get another flashback to their childhood, where Asta is training with Yuno, trying to land a hit on him, but keeps getting pushed back again and again. Yuno tells him to stop and that all of this is pointless, but Asta refuses, saying he will not give up until he lands a hit. Back in the present, just as a giant crystal sword comes crashing down, Asta arrives just in time and slices it midair, yelling not to touch his rival. The fight turns into a contest between them to see who can take down Mars first. A Mars clone tries to attack Klaus, but Luck takes it out. After that, Mars creates multiple diamond clones that all rush Asta, but he sends the real one flying. The enemy returns in a massive armor form and launches a crushing attack that slams Asta down, but he still gets back up. Mars demands to know who the heck he is. Asta fires back, saying he's someone who was born without a single drop of magic, and he'll still become the Wizard King to protect everyone in the kingdom. Klaus is stunned that he can nullify magic and thinks a power like that can't belong to a commoner, but after witnessing his resolve and his trained body, he starts to rethink everything. Mars, seeing Asta's resolve, gets flashbacks of his childhood friend, who had the same goal of protecting their kingdom. He too once had that goal before it was twisted into destroying everything. Mars says Asta is just a pebble, and Asta fires back, saying he will be the pebble that breaks the diamond. With that, he goes all in with a powerful slash, landing a direct hit that knocks Mars out.
You see? You can do anything if you don't give up.
After Klaus ties up Mars, everyone rushes into the treasure room. Inside, Yuno finds a glowing scroll that disappears into his grimoire. Meanwhile, Neru guides Asta into a strange keyhole in the wall, but he has no idea how it works. Suddenly, Mars breaks free using recovery magic. Klaus is shocked since mages should only have one element, yet Mars has two.
I'm sorry, Mars, but this is the only way. You have to die.
Mars attacks, sends Noelle flying, and knocks her unconscious before blasting Asta into a hidden room inside of the wall. Mimosa rushes to heal Noelle.
Are you such a dimwit you can't even walk? Come on.
Thank you, Noelle.
I am a bit clumsy sometimes.
But they grew distant when Mimosa became a recovery mage, while Noelle, on the other hand, had to work hard to control her magic. Royals mock hard work, seeing it as something for the weak and powerless, believing everything should come easy to them. Mimosa feels guilty seeing her because magic came easily to her, while Noelle had to work hard to control her overwhelming power. But she had always admired her cousin from a distance for working so hard despite being royalty. When Mars goes after them, Asta bursts out of the rubble with a new anti-magic sword that Nero helped him find in that room. But he's still no match for Mars. Then Noelle wakes up, and don't ask me how, but the new sword can now absorb her water magic as its own. With that, Asta launches a powerful attack that sends Mars flying, but takes a heavy hit to the stomach. In the next episode, we see Mimosa is trying to heal Asta. Then we get a flashback where we see Mars is seen crying after some intense training and is comforted by his childhood friend Fauna, who tells him that when things get tough, he should remember the people he loves, because they were born to protect the people of this kingdom. And one day, when they become strong enough, they will leave this place and see the outside world. Fauna believes Mars will get out first since he's the strongest. Mars promises to wait for her outside so they can see the world together. But the kingdom forced all of the children in the experiment to fight each other to the death, where only the last survivor can leave. The children go mad trying to kill each other, and while Mars is defending himself, he ends up killing Fauna, and their grimoires are combined to create the ultimate mage. Refusing to ever be that weak again, Mars wakes up and attacks the girls. Yuno tries to stop him, but can't reach them in time. Out of nowhere, time freezes as a spirit appears and blasts Mars away with a single shot, finally bringing him down. Locke and Klaus are freed as the bindings break and ask Yuno what that was, but even he doesn't know what just happened, only noticing a new page in his grimoire written exactly like that scroll from earlier, while Asta's new sword vanishes into his grimoire and the dungeon starts to collapse. Yuno uses wind magic to help everyone escape, while Asta insists on saving Mars until the collapsing ceiling forces them to leave. Once outside, Lotus uses his magic to safely get Mars out while also taking some of the treasure. Mars wakes up as his memories begin to clear, realizing the truth that Fauna actually sacrificed herself for him that day. With his mind clearing, he truly sees the outside world for the first time and promises to see more of it for her. He also thanks Lotus for saving his life.
Thank you. Well, alright. So it appears you can say thank you. That was some good work you did, kid. Just look at all the treasure I was able to salvage thanks to you. Think of all the delicious food this will buy our people back home. My daughters will be eating well after a haul like this.
We cut to Asta waking up and thanking Mimosa for healing him, which leaves her flustered. Klaus then hugs Asta and Yuno, apologizing for looking down on them just because they're commoners, and admitting that the Magic Knights are lucky to have them. And with that, the first two parts of Black Clover reach their conclusion. Click right here to watch the next part once it's posted. If you're looking for more content from us, be sure to browse the channel and join our Discord to chat with us and other anime fans. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.